In this tutorial, we're going to be discussing how to make functions. And functions are just the way things operate. So if we were to compare this to real life, you would probably think about maybe renting a movie. So the first thing you would do is probably get your keys, go out the door, close the door, get in your car, drive, buy the DVD, etc., etc. And those are all events. I mean functions. So to make a function, you type in function, and if you type it right, it's going to be in blue. And this tells Flash that, hey, I'm going to write a function. And then if we were to just like a variable, you could name this whatever you want. So we're going to name this my first function. And something you should know is that when you name your functions or any variable, this applies to variables too. So if you were to write it, you can't begin it with a number. You can't begin it with a wild character like a or a pound symbol. It has to begin with a letter. But you can have a number in it anywhere, but it can't just be the first one. If for some reason you want to space these out, you want to type in underscore, you can't type in space, it has to be an underscore if you wanted to space these out. The reason why I don't space them out is because I just write the capital letter so it can be easier to read. It's just a hassle to write the underscore. So that applies to variables and functions. The next thing you would do is you would type in parentheses, press enter, type in a bracket, opening bracket, press space again, enter again, press it again, and make a closing bracket. And in here, in between these two brackets, is going to be what this function is going to do. I'm going to delete this. And to describe a function more better, you probably used functions before. The trace statement is a function. It's a pre-built function in Flash, and that is why you can't use the same name. You can't use trace for a name of a variable or a name of a function. That's because it's already taken. Stop, play, go to and play is a function. So pretty much anything in blue is a function. So I'm gonna make the same thing I did last time, my first function. And this is how you make your own custom function. And you can type in whatever you want in this function. If we were to type in var and make a variable, name this something. We're gonna set this to a string. We're gonna make it equal to Jack. Remember to close it, and then we're going to trace this. We're going to go in trace something, close it, and if we were to run this movie, nothing would happen. That is because you've only defined the function. You've only told what it's going to do. You haven't called it yet. So just like the stop function or the play function, you have to call it first. So to run the function, you have to type in the name of the function, which is my first function, type in parentheses, and then a semicolon, and that's how you run a function. If we were to run this now, you see that we get that message, Jack. Something to know, if we were to, I'm going to copy this trace statement, and I'm going to go paste it outside of the function. If we were to play this now, it would not work. The reason this is because the variable something is defined in this function. It isn't defined outside. It isn't public to trace. So trace doesn't know the var. Doesn't know the var something. It doesn't know what it is. So if we were to, let's say, I'm going to copy this and then put it back into the function. I'm going to copy the variable, delete it. I'm going to put it outside of the function. If we were to run this now, you'd see we get that output message. That's because the variable is outside, and now the trace statement can recognize what something is because it's outside. So when you write variables, make sure that you want to make sure that either they are defined inside the function or they're defined outside of the function, and whether that you're going to be needing it outside of the function or not. Something to keep note is that you don't have to space these out like I do. You can have these all spaced in like this, but the only reason I spaced them out is because it's easier to read for me. So that's how you run a variable, a function in Flash. You type in the function, telling Flash that you're going to write a function, the name of that function, and then 2 parentheses, which is a parameter, and then you type in 2 brackets, opening and closing, and then you type in what that function is going to do when you run it, and then you have to run the function for it to work. Something to keep in mind is that these parameters right here, these parentheses that you're seeing in Flash, they're called parameters, like I said, and what they are is that they're unique values. And what that pretty much means is that if you were to let's say that a trace statement, you don't always have to trace the same thing over and over again. You can trace whatever you want, which is what parameters are for. Pretty much anything unique that you want to happen. So when you type in a stop, a go to in play, you type in what frame you want it to play on. It can be frame 10, frame 5, frame 34,345. It's a unique value, so that's something to keep in mind when you write functions. When you type in parameters, they're just unique values in Flash. They can be anything you want, just as long as it makes sense and it runs properly and you type it right. And that's pretty much it for functions. If you want to download this file, I'm going to name it Functions, and you can download it at my website for free. So thanks for watching.